Is it the last dance of Bitcoin, or is it just the Central Bank of Europe that is really scared? In this video, we'll discuss about that using the latest article by the BCE just to understand what are these myths and why they are true or not. I will do this video specifically for one reason. I want to invite you guys, watch it and use it to show, to explain to people that are not familiar with this concept with Bitcoin, just to help them understanding why some kind of claim is not simply true and what is the value and the reason why Bitcoin, at least in my opinion, is not at his last standing. So guys, pay attention to this video because it could be really useful for you if you have someone that is simply pretending, oh, come on, man, stop with this, Bitcoin is simply dead. Have you seen what the Central Bank of Europe is saying? Have you seen the impact on the environment? Have you seen that it's used for money laundering and so on? We'll go through all of it, and it could be quite interesting. Just before to start, guys, let me say that this channel is about educational content and nothing has to be intended as financial advice. If you want to invest in anything, that's great, but always your own research first. And don't forget to check all our links into the description below where you can find how to support us, plus also our Twitter and newsletter, our weekly newsletter where you can find even more information and more content about cryptos and DeFi. And guys, don't forget to leave us a big thumbs up and drop a comment. That's the easiest way to support and help us to grow. Okay, guys, so let's start with this incredible article. Bitcoin's last stand. This is how the Central Bank of Europe is titling their article. And if you're wondering who is writing this article, as you can see, it is coming from Director General and one advisor. So big people that are talking about Bitcoin. And as you can imagine, they are not talking in a positive way about Bitcoin. And to be fair, it's quite interesting to see a negative article about Bitcoin, while at the same time, just on the right of the screen, and I will hide myself just for a second, just to show you the article. So as you can see, key objectives of the digital euro for central bank digital currencies and so on. So come on, guys, you are saying that Bitcoin is at the last stand while you are just preparing a digital currency. Well, you were just saying that cryptocurrencies are dead, they are not good and so on. Why, if they are not good, you want to deliver, you want to create something that is using the same technology? So, well, it looks like that they have some kind of double interest. But anyway, let's go through the whole article because as you will see, there are a couple of important things that are really important if you want to answer in the right way to the many people that are maybe could be skeptical, they want to just learn more about Bitcoin. So let's start immediately. They are saying it is questionable because in the terms of payment, real BTC transaction never happen. So that's something that is important because many people are saying, okay guys, Bitcoin was supposed to be a currency, but if you check the blockchain and the stats, you will see that not so many transactions are happening. It looks like that nobody is using as a payment method. And from a certain point of view, it is true. But the main problem is the word currency. Bitcoin is not really just a currency. The main value of Bitcoin is that it is retaining value. It's something that is appreciating during time. So it is increasing its value. So why to sell something that it is increasing in value? Obviously, if you have this kind of asset, it's much more just to keep it into your wallet in order to see the value of it to increase. On the other side, it's also true that the main problem about doing transactions with Bitcoin is that using the Bitcoin blockchain, it is something that is expensive. So it doesn't make any sense to go to pay for an ice cream just using your Bitcoins. If you're wondering why transaction fees are so high, there is a single reason, and it's called security. It is like in the moment when you go to buy an ice cream, you don't need any kind of public agreement, you don't need a lawyer to verify why and how the whole transaction is happening. And the same is for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like having a lawyer, having someone, a public solicitor that is checking the transaction for you in order to make it 100% secure. And obviously this kind of process is not needed in a moment when you are going just to buy an ice cream. So that's the first reason why Bitcoin, it's not used and will never be used as a transaction method. On the other side, with the new technology that is called a Lightning Network, yes, in this case, transaction costs are really low. And in that moment, using the Lightning Network, yes, we could have payments that are happening into Bitcoin. So just saying that real Bitcoin transactions never happen is just telling us half of the truth, because the Bitcoin blockchain has never been like just a payment system. It is something to give you a way to retain value in a decentralized way that is more secure and at the same time is also liquid. Because the main difference between having gold in your home or having Bitcoin is that gold, to sell it, you can do only in a weekday. It requires time, there is a lot of spread, and so on. When it comes to Bitcoin, it doesn't matter what days of the week it is. You can simply sell it and it will take you seconds with no spread. So that's the main point when we talk about the reason why Bitcoin has never been used as a payment system, but with any probability, it will start to be used as a payment system through the Lightning Network. Going down, because also this is pretty interesting, they are saying, well, Bitcoin doesn't make any sense for the simple reason it's not like real estate that is producing some kind of cash flow. It is not like a stock that is producing dividends. It's not like a commodity that's producing some kind of use, because it is just a material. On the other side, it's not even like gold, because it's not providing social benefit. And this last part is quite interesting. What does it mean, provides social benefits? I just tried to check it on Google, and I wrote down gold social benefit. And how is gold a benefit to social? And here, for example, I found this answer here. Well-managed, transparent, and accountable resource extraction can be a major contributor to growth, to economic growth, due to the creation of employment and business opportunities for local people. Well, for what is my knowledge, many people are dying into the gold mining just to extract gold. So I don't see so many social benefit. Maybe they are saying that it is having some kind of social benefit for the simple reason that for literally centuries, it has been the kind of store of value that was given from the one side to countries the possibility to manage their currency as they want, but on the other side, having something that is maintaining the value. So if you were having just in your home gold, it doesn't matter if the currency is going down, you will keep having the same value into your home. So that's something that is really important. But on the other side, Bitcoin is doing exactly the same thing, just in a more efficient way. So it's quite weird to say that gold has some kind of social benefit if we are just relying on the fact that they are creating employment, so job opportunities, because Bitcoin is doing exactly the same thing. Maybe they are saying that gold has been used for centuries just to maintain your value. Instead of just keeping a currency that is inflationary, just having gold into your home, it could be a much better idea. Yes, maybe it's true, but on the other side, Bitcoin is doing exactly the same thing. We can simply compare the chart of Bitcoin and gold, and you will see that the appreciation of Bitcoin has been much greater than gold. Not to mention that if you want to sell gold, it takes time, while Bitcoin not. If you want to divide your big bar of gold, it takes quite a lot of effort, while just dividing your Bitcoins, selling just a part of your Bitcoins, it requires no effort. So this whole definition looks like quite opportunistic, or at least not so well educated. But let's go on, because it's not finished here. Bitcoin investors have the strongest incentives to keep the euphoria going. So they are almost saying that the only reason why the price of Bitcoin is increasing is just because big Bitcoin investors are keep buying just to maintain the euphoria high. Well, it doesn't make so much sense. Well, not to mention that the crypto adoption has grown during the time, starting from one people, Satoshi Nakamoto, to right now there are 300 million people that are inside the industry. Yes, it is undeniable that many people are just joined for speculation purpose. But on the other side, I want to show you this. You know which are the countries that are having the highest adoption? Because it's not like Europe, it's not US, but as you can see, it's Vietnam, Philippines, Ukraine, India, Pakistan, Russia, Morocco, Argentina, Nigeria, and so on. So we are talking not about countries that are just having money and want to do more money, but we are mainly talking about countries that are underbanked or unbanked. What does it mean? It simply means that they are not having any access to financial services. And cryptos, Bitcoin, decentralized finance are start bringing financial services in countries where these services were completely absent or at least underserved. And that's something that is quite big because until now we had only Europe and US, and we can say North America, so also Canada, and another couple of countries that only them there were having access to all the main services, all the main privileges. But right now, thanks to this financial infrastructure, also Nigeria, Philippines, Vietnam, and so on, they can have access to all of these services. And that's something that's pretty important. It is quite ignorant and also not a good way to speak for a central bank of Europe. Yes, for Europe, having a financial service and a decentralized financial service could be something that is just, yes, useful because maybe it is giving more power to the people because it's much more democratized. But on the other side, yes, we can say we don't really need it because we already have some kind of financial service, so we have less urgency. But on the other side, denying the utility for all the emerging countries or having this kind of services is quite naive, or even in the worst case, is quite criminal because you are denying something just for your own convenience, and that's something that, at least in my opinion, is not so correct. But let's go on because it's not end here. As you can see here, firstly, this technology have so far created limited value for society. Well, man, do you know what I have just said? So are you saying that cryptocurrencies, and in this case, he is not referring just to Bitcoin, but to generalizing to blockchain. Maybe he is not aware about the different kind of use cases of blockchain. Maybe he doesn't know that blockchain is also used into the whole the logistic part just to have an immutable ledger where you can check transactions no matter what, and this transaction will not change into the future. And aside from all the business opportunities that blockchain is generating, on the other side, it is undeniable that these countries are literally having a big advantage from the adoption of this kind of systems. About this topic, I want to add two main things. First, it is pretty clear that blockchain has a strong utility. Otherwise, also the Central Bank of Europe, they will not have started to build their own currency based on the blockchain. It's like a paradox. From one side, they are saying blockchain, it doesn't have any kind of utility. On the other side, they are using the same technology just to build a new currency. So, well, it looks like that you are kidding me because I can't see any other reason. On the other side, I don't know how long have you been into this market. I'm into this market since 2013, and I can tell you that in the last 10 years, the industry has changed completely. Yes, I agree that in 2013, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were just speculation with no real use case. But in the moment when we have started to introduce smart contracts, the path has changed. And right now, you can see many new applications that are coming out. Obviously, we are still talking about a young industry. So I completely agree if the point is that they are still unsecure, still immature, they are still have to understand the right user experience, they have to improve the way of integrating Web3 to Web2 and so on. But on the other side, simply saying that they have no value. Well, that's quite just a lie, nothing else. Going down, and that's the most famous point. First, it consumes energy on the scale of entire economies. Well, from one side, it is true. It is undeniable that Bitcoin is consuming energy for the simple reason that to secure the blockchain, to secure transactions, they are using energy. It's like while in order to extract from a gold mine some gold, you need to use energy, you need to use water, you need to use people to work into that. And I'm saying using people because most of the time they are not working here, just used for this kind of purpose. But the situation is quite even more interesting because just saying that Bitcoin is consuming a lot, it doesn't mean anything. We need to understand Bitcoin compared to other stuff that we are considering acceptable if Bitcoin is consuming more or less. And this is beautiful. Check out this chart. I will just hide myself just to let you see it better. Here we are. So Bitcoin is here, 62 on the right. And do you know what is consuming even more? It is consuming 108 and it is about dryers. Yes, you are understanding correctly. And I'm talking about just this machine. This machine is consuming more than Bitcoin, this machine alone. But this is acceptable while using Bitcoin that is helping all of these countries to have better access to all the financial services, aside from the many other use cases, including the one by the European Central Bank that is developing its own cryptocurrency based on the same kind of technology. Well, this is not acceptable, and they are simply saying that Bitcoin is bad because it is consuming a lot. Obviously, Bitcoin is consuming, and that's the reason why also the whole Bitcoin industry is pushing a lot into more renewable energies, and obviously that's something that shouldn't be undervalued. We need to push for a much greener economy, pushing Bitcoin to be greener. But on the other side, we need to understand that Bitcoin is just one of the few industries that is pushing a lot into this direction for the simple reason that from the branding point of view, for Bitcoin, this is a big threat. And that's the reason why many are investing into Bitcoin just to bring new renewable energies. And the first big step has been in the moment when Bitcoin mining has been banned from China that were still using coal. So in that moment, the whole industry made a big step further. Obviously, many other steps will be required, but we need to understand that Bitcoin is consuming much less than a dryer, much less the air conditioning system, much less the data center that we are using, and so on. Not to mention that we also would need to understand for rich consumption, which is the energy that they are using, because Bitcoin, half of them are green energy. I'm not so sure that in all the other categories is happening the same. So just to summarize, yes, it's true that Bitcoin is consuming energy for the simple reason that it is required to secure the system. On the other side, also in the moment when the financial service into our world, in the moment when you are going to a bank, the bank is consuming energy from the light, from the computers and so on. And this energy is used just to secure the system, to give you the opportunity to use a financial service that is reliable. And the same is happening for Bitcoin. The system should be reliable, otherwise it has no value. So the energy is using just to secure it. So I want to just give you a brief summary. First, when we talk about Bitcoin, we are talking about not a payment system, but just a store of value, and it can become a payment system only in a moment when we will start using the Lightning Network. That's something that is happening right now. But the adoption, that's another story. It will require much more time. Even if we have already seen with El Salvador how Bitcoin can help a country, an underdeveloped country, to have a new asset that is helping them to have much more authority on their own monetary policy. Going on, it has a value because it's giving to many countries that are undeveloped countries to access services that are valuable because they are not having. If us in Europe, we have all the financial services that we want, other people in other countries, they are not. On the other side, Bitcoin is a speculative asset. Well, obviously, as everything, you can check just the Nasdaq. We can say that Nasdaq is an organic growth. No, many probability is just manipulated by big whales, by big fans, and so on. So manipulation, that's something that is quite normal in any industry. So just pointing the finger on Bitcoin saying that it's speculative, that just big investors are manipulating it, that's a lie. Manipulation is something that is part of the game. It's bad, yes, unfortunately it is, but as in any game, we have a good part and a bad part. We need just to find the right balance in order to create value for the whole system. Going on, it has a big value from the technology point of view. That is, I don't know what will be the future of Bitcoin because nobody can predict it. On the other side, I'm truly a believer that the blockchain as a technology will have a bright future. It's not anymore a matter of if, at least for me, but it's much more a matter of how and when. And the same is confirmed by the European Central Bank. Also they, even if they are criticizing Bitcoin, they are investing a lot just to develop their own digital euro. This is quite dystopian because they will have 100% control of your own money in a way that right now is not happening, but that's another story that I want to talk about right now. Finally, about the consumption of energy, it is true, even if it is consuming much less than a dryer, and on the other side, Bitcoin is using much more green energy than many other industries. Guys, please use this information to help other people to understand better what is Bitcoin, what is a blockchain, and why all this FUD, so all this misunderstanding from one side, and on the other side, all of this news, interesting news that are spread around just to attack Bitcoin. Bitcoin with any probability is not at its last stand. Obviously, right now we are in a bear market, but with any probability, sooner or later, we will have another spring and a new summer. Guys, let me know what do you think about this topic. Let me know into the comment section below. Leave me a big thumbs up, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye, guys.